Meaning of this sprint was to write a chapter for the book of Vaadin on how you use our tools, how you use Rue and Visual Designer and Test Bench and deploy everything to the new Cloud Foundry cloud service. For the chapter number 12, the overview looks like this. So we described how to set up the environment, how you create the domain model in Spring Rue, how you create views, and how you use add-ons with Spring Rue, and how you make your own custom views and add them to your application, and how you authenticate and authorize users to different views, and how you internationalize the application, and testing and exception handling, because you don't want your users to get a stack trace in their face, even though this is the default. And finally, we deploy this whole application to the Cloud Foundry Cloud or service. And I show you some of these things, and Marc will show you some things, and the rest you can read about in the book or on vaadin.com/springrue. Okay, so using your own add-ons in a Spring Rue project. Let's go back here. I won't go through setting up the environment or creating the domain model or creating CRUD views, because all of these are very nicely explained in the vaadin.com/springrue site. So I'll just demonstrate how you add an add-on to a Rue project. And actually I have the very same pizza shop project. To add an add-on to the pizza shop project, I can show you. I should have it running here. Localhost test. So this is the pizza shop. Henry has probably demoed this for you before, so I won't bother. Anyways, adding an add-on is pretty simple. The shell is visible and everything, so let's just go. You just type Vaadin, add, and press Control space, and it fills in a lot of all the parameters that you need, and actually lists the add-ons that are available in Vaadin directory. So let's say that we want, what do we want? Let's just take the calendar, and we press enter, and it downloads the calendar add-on and installs it in this project. And the next thing that we need to do is widget set create. So Vaadin widget set create. That compiles the widget set in our project.
About the list of add-ons, I presume it only includes the add-ons that are published through Maven.
Yeah. This builds on Maven. And this will take a while. So the widget set has been created here, and we should add that folder to our deployment assembly. So add here and folder,
Okay.
and that folder, finish. So Now it's added. That folder. Okay. That's about add-ons. And if you want to, actually I'm gonna demo our application for you before we go into this part. So here it is actually running in the cloud on cloudfoundry.com. I'll get to that a bit later. We'll deploy the pizza shop there. So basically we have an admin user that can log in. Ooh, yeah. And he can create new users. Ooh, let's create Jonatan. I created my user and now I can log out and log in as my user. So, and this user only sees the calendar and report views. So I'll report a few hours.
For the pizza shop.
For our rapid application, this is an application to report your hours for different projects. So, like, lots of cool things. And we'll add some more hours and just okay, that's enough. Okay. So, and now I can go to the report part and see that I've been just slacking for a few days. That's not right. And I can filter by time and by project if I had any more projects. And if we log in as the administrator again, go to the calendar view, I can choose the Jonatan user and see his hours. And I can go to the report and see his hours. And I can create new projects and new users, and I can actually see a list of all hours in a view like this. Okay, so to continue on, this view here is completely generated by, almost completely generated by Spring Roo, since this part has been edited with the visual designer. This is completely Spring Roo generated, no code touched, as well as this view. So yeah, except for filtering, yes, that's true. We added a small filter, so you can filter by username, for example, or project name. Yeah, but calendar and report are completely done in the visual designer and then added to the UI. So let's take a look at how that's done, because that's not completely obvious. Spring Roo generates, or the Vaadin plugin generates a rapid entity manager view, or project name entity manager view, that has an add entity views to list method, where we added a few calls to add special view that we implemented ourselves, which basically add the URI fragment and the view name and the view class. And this is generated by Roo and just adds all the entity views. And the add special view only does something like this. The generic sidebar item we had to implement ourselves because there's only an entity sidebar item by default, and the rest should be generated automatically. Yep. And to take a look at the calendar view itself, it's just your basic custom component. So you all saw the login screen. That's just basically login form inside of an visually designed component. So basically, and the language select is also there. And to make this display when you open the application, we have changed the code that is generated in rapid window. So this checks that if there already is a user logged in this session, then it shows the main UI, which is the Rapid Entity Manager view that we just was checking out. And otherwise, it will show the login view. And when the user presses login, or what the button was labeled, this calls authenticator.login with the username and password, and if that succeeds, it shows the main UI. Or if it doesn't, it shows a notification that says you have the wrong username or password. So yeah, basically the login method is very simply implemented, so we won't go into that. But then to authorize the user for different views, we only check if he's an admin or not, and hide some views if he's not an admin. So this happens in the Rapid Entity Manager view in this same method, add views to list. We call this authenticator is view accessible for the currently logged in user before we add it to the navigation bar. Yeah. So, internationalization.
Yeah. Internationalization.
You saw the login view. We wanted to provide multiple languages for this application. So in the login view, there's a drop-down where you can select the language. And we try to get the preferred language from the browser and put that at default, but the user can select a different language. And the actual translation is done by using just the common Java way, I guess, resource bundles and properties files. You could do this in other ways, but this works pretty nicely. So for the main translation is done by using externalized strings in Eclipse. So you get a list of the strings that are not translated, and you can choose to externalize these, translate them, or not. I won't go into detail. This is the basic Java way of doing this. We basically used most of the defaults that Eclipse is suggesting here, and then made minor modifications so it suits our project. So, for instance, the messages class, when Eclipse generates this, it has a static bundle here, but since the user can have different languages in different sessions here, so we need to create many bundles with whatever language the user is using. So we just moved that down here, and that's about it for the customization here. When you use the externalized strings in Eclipse, it goes through all the strings and you choose which ones to externalize, and it adds the code to do so. But when it goes through the auto-generated methods in the visually editable files, the visual editor doesn't like that currently. So this is one of the small things that we need to look at how we could make better. In this project there are some classes where I have moved the translation to the constructor, so it's done. You can still edit the file, but it will overwrite whatever you write as caption or something, and it will translate. So we'll have to look into how we can do this a little bit more smoothly. Then this is for like the strings that you have been writing into your files. There are some other things that need to be translated. For instance, the view names. And for this application also we didn't want to translate the fragment that you can see in the address bar in your browser. So that is automatically added by the Ru plugin, so you get that functionality, but it depends a little bit on your application if you actually want to have like translated fragments or not. So we did some changes, so we got that working. Basically, it just when it adds the view, the method that we checked out a few times already, it just translates the view name. So that's pretty simple. Then we have the table headers need to be translated, and they are dynamically created, so you have to change those in a separate place. And also, if you want to format something in the table, you need to override a method to do that. So for instance, booleans, if you want to translate that, and dates. In this application, it's booleans and dates that we need to localize. So you get, or booleans we translate and the date we localize. So you need to do that. And then the final thing that's actually was the hardest thing. This is using beans validation for validating as well. And beans validation produces some error messages in certain situations, and these come through to the interface. So beans validation has the same way of translating messages by properties files, but there is a small problem in setting the locale, which language you want to use in the validators. So that needed some work, and this is definitely one of the things that we need to fix.
So let's get back to exception handling. Basically, the first thing that we did was to take the rapid application, that's the application class, and override terminal error so that it won't pipe the stack traces directly to the application or to the UI. And since this is a multi-window application, first need to find which window the error occurred in before we can show a notification in that window. So this is why this is a bit ugly, but it needs to be done. And then we log it to the logger, the exception. So basically, this isn't translated yet, but basically it pops up a big red box that says that an internal error has occurred and you should contact the administrator, which is nice. He can then check out the logs and you don't have to do anything. So yeah, that was step 1. Step 2 is if we're trying to save something and everything goes wonky, we want to tell the user that save failed, not that an internal error occurred. Please contact the administrator. So now I have to remember in which view this was done. Yes. So the Vaadin plugin generates an abstract entity view class, which handles a lot of things common to all the entity views. Among other, it handles saving and deleting and cancelling and stuff like that. So and Ru actually generates a method called doCommit and doDelete, which are placed in an aspect, but we need to actually catch exceptions here so that we can show a nicer error message. For example, here on doCommit we need to show that couldn't save X because something went wrong. So we need to move these methods from the aspect. Oh, okay. There it is. We need to move these methods to this class from the aspect, and what I added here was actually this part. This part, the validation error messages that Marc just mentioned, and in the doDelete I added a try catch block around the method body. So and these show better error messages for the user. And actually, for example, the projects view is such that you can't delete a project if it has hours reported to it. So this is an error that might more commonly occur. So let's... Computer is too slow. So the project view actually overrides the doDelete itself also, and shows a more specific error message for that case. So the project couldn't be deleted. Have you made sure that there are no hours reported to it? Something like that. Yeah. So basically the points where an exception can occur in this application is when you interact with the database, when you store or delete or update something. So those points are wrapped with try catches and display some error messages. Next point, the last point, deploying the Cloud Foundry. This is actually pretty easy. So I'll just close the Rapid project since we already have that running in the cloud. And we'll put the pizza shop in the cloud. So this is the basic pizza shop that we saw earlier. It's created exactly following the instructions on vaadin.com/springroo. And we want to deploy it to Cloud Foundry. Basically what you first need to do is to install the Cloud Foundry plugin in Eclipse, which is actually very easy if you, at least if you use STS as we are here, where everything's installed by default. You just open the dashboard, go to extensions. There's a small tab there, nobody sees it, but it's there. And then if it's not already installed, it will be here under servers and clouds. So just check the Cloud Foundry and off you go. Follow the on-screen instructions and reboot Eclipse and whatever. And we'll actually delete this server here, so we start from a clean slate. And once it's installed and Eclipse has rebooted, just choose New Server in the Servers view and Cloud Foundry. And then we choose which cloud we want to run it in. I don't know if any other work yet, but at least the Cloud Foundry cloud works. And let's press validate account. So yes, I had the correct password. Yes, and then finish. And we get a nice Cloud Foundry with our old projects deployed there. And now I want to add the pizza shop project, so I'll just do a normal add and remove project and add the test project, that is the pizza shop, and click finish. And then we'll start it. So I right clicked on the test project and choose start, and then we can type in a name for it. So Vaadin pizza. And next, and then we choose the URL for it. Vaadin pizza. And 256 megs should be enough. And finish. And then we wait a second or two. Okay. Now it should be deployed. So actually we can just open homepage here. So now you can all go to vaadinpizza.cloudfoundry.com and order your pizzas. Thank you. Go grab some coffee, you look tired.